What is going on, everybody? It's the France, and we are for AEW on TNT review for May 13th, 2020. We are 10 days from Double or Nothing, which will be, of course, at Daly's place. Unfortunately, due to all the bullshit, fear-mongering shit we're going through, Double or Nothing will not take place at the MGM Grand like they planned for it to do. And the entire week, they were supposed to be at Double or Nothing in Vegas on Saturday, and then the next Wednesday with stuff in between, events in between, they were going to have the Wednesday night show at the same place as well. But of course, all this COVID-19 bullshit just ruined everything. So, Double or Nothing is still happening, but it's going to happen at Daly's place. I hope they bring the poker chips back, though. Now, it was announced last week there will be a casino ladder match. What does that mean? How is that going to be any different from any other ladder match? We don't know. I don't know. You don't know. But going into it, we know 4 competitors: Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, Colt Cabana, and then today they announced Rey Fenix. Is that everybody? I don't know. Maybe we'll get some more announcements. Again, I don't know what makes a casino ladder match any more different than a regular ladder match. But we start the show. And it's Lance Archer making his way out to the ring. He's killing some poor slub who got in his way. Probably smirked at him or said, "Hey, what's up, Archer?" But he's killing this dude. He comes out. Robert says he was asked to make an apology for his reprehensible actions last week. He says, and I quote, "As soon as she kisses my ass, I'll give her an apology." And when he went really into this promo, went way back into the dark ages of wrestling and back into the dark ages of society. He said, first off, he's like, this right here, this when you step over and you're in this arena, this is no man's land. You come here, you get into this area, you're going to get hurt. You know, like, this is for us. We come out here and we show you what we can do. And then he says, I see the woman is better at home, cooking, doing, cleaning, making babies. Like, if it's cold outside, she wants to come outside and warm me up, she can. And I'm thinking, ooh, that's going to strike a chord with a lot of SJWs out there who just can't see that he's cutting a heel promo in professional wrestling. They're honestly going to think, oh, this is what Jake the Snake Robert still feels like. This is how Jake the Snake Robert was raised and stuff. Yes, he's from a different time. That has no business in the professional wrestling world this year. It would not surprise me if he gets a lot of hate mail. But guess what? He's doing his job. That is what a person is supposed to do when they are hated. You're supposed to get heat. You're supposed to get you're supposed to say stuff that's going to offend people. Is it something we should be seeing in 2020? Most likely not, but I'm not going to hate him for it. I mean, come on. It's like if a babyface said that, then yes, it would be like, what the hell is he saying? But it's Jake the Snake Roberts being Jake the Snake Roberts. He's being as heelish as he can be. The guy does it better than anybody else. He knows how to cut a promo. He knows how to rile people up. If there are people who, like, this isn't like Jerry Lawler coming out and saying the ramen noodle moonsault. That was just something that shouldn't have been said. That was something that a commentator who shouldn't be affiliated on a heel or babyface side just came out and said something that was something that should have never even been said. Yes, I'm sure this is going to get a lot of backlash if it hasn't already, but it is what it is. He said it. Now he's talking, but you hear boom, boom. You just hear something going on. You hear this noise. And it's Cody's truck. He's right outside Daly's place. He drives into this little, like, this barrier from where he's at in Daly's place. He just drives into that. So he comes in. He and Archer go right at it. They're beating the brakes out of each other. They get over the barricade, over to ringside where they are now. And Archer is just having his way with Cody for a minute. He goes to go to chokeslam Cody onto the apron like he did in so many other guys. Cody lands on his feet. He jumps the first Like, he jumps from the first leg. Like, Archer tries to take his arm and trip Cody up. Cody jumps the first one, but misses and gets hit with the second one. He falls backward on his back. Archer turns his back, like, just on Cody, who's just, like, hamming it up. Cody smartly takes both braids of his hair and pulls him back and wraps it around his mouth, trying to choke him a little bit. Now, in the ring, Archer boots Cody. He goes for the blackout, but Cody gets down. He goes for the cutter. Archer stops that. In the end, Archer is backed off by Jake the Snake Roberts. He's like, not tonight. And they finally back off. Cody just seeing red, wanting to kill this guy for what happened to his wife last week. I would not blame Cody for acting this way, but this was a really good segment overall. Just great. Can't wait to see this match for the AEW title. And we have news on the TNT title later in the show. We see highlights. We see a video package on the AEW's tag team division, from the Lucha Bros to the Best Friends, Young Bucks, Private Party, TH2, so on and so forth, and how all these teams are hungry and they want to be champions. They want to go after the AEW tag team titles. They also mentioned how Stu Grayson and Evil Uno have been number one for a while, but they have been missing since the week after the first episode of TNT, when they had to go to empty arena because of all the bullshit we're going through. So we'll also have news on that in a bit too. But we go to Jurassic Express versus the Best Friends. And Orange Cassidy comes down and he's wearing a mask. He looks like just a mask and the sunglasses. It's like, just in that combination, if Orange Cassidy is just lazily laying back in the chair, he could pass out sleeping and you wouldn't even know the difference. I mean, Tony Schiavone mentions it later. It's like, I'm glad he's moving because I thought he was sleeping with the mask and the glasses on. By the way, AEW has no problems mentioning coronavirus or COVID-19 or anything else, while WWE is strictly banned from mentioning any more of it. Just the global situation in WWE, while they are saying coronavirus, COVID-19, and everything under the sun here in AEW. Jungle Boy and Taylor start the match. They wrestle some, and Taylor gets a 2 count on an early roll-up. Trent and Luchasaurus then tag in, and Luchasaurus is just tossing Trent around easily like he's a ragdoll. Trent avoids some strikes, and he chops at Luchasaurus, which Luchasaurus does not sell, which honestly he shouldn't early in the match. Luchasaurus starts laying in the strikes. Jungle Boy tags in. Marco then, when Jungle Boy tags in, you see in the back, because the hard cam is right towards the entranceway, you see Orange Cassidy over there just chillaxing. Marco Stunt walks over and gets on the ramp and just sits there and chillax with him too for a second. And it's just one of the funniest moments. Then of course Chuck Taylor comes over and kicks him away. I think it was him. Yeah, Chuck Taylor kicks him away. Double team suplex, block, drop kick. As what they were trying to do is, the Best Friends had one on top of the other. They were trying to do a double suplex type move onto Jungle Boy, who's on the top rope. He kicks them away. Then he hits a drop kick to, I don't know, I couldn't tell exactly which one it was. I think it was Taylor. Later on, the Best Friends with a double suplex on the Luchasaurus. And then we give the people what they want. They actually did the pan out shot, which they haven't done in weeks, maybe in a month, and that 2 months. As soon as they did that pan out shot, and Jungle Boy then does a tope con hilo to the outside, taking both men down, and we go to commercial break. Oh, by the way, there is a small crowd, as we know. These shows, of course, up to Double or Nothing, which is in 10 days. So that is a week from, hold on. That is next week, isn't it? Yeah. Next week is your go-home show to Double or Nothing. So they tape this week and next week after, I think they did them Thursday and Friday last week. So this week and next week are taped up. They have themselves a couple of weeks off to quarantine, whatever. So when we get to Double or Nothing, we can have ourselves an interesting show. Now, like I said, there's a crowd there. So when they go to break here, you hear, "This is awesome." And it's not like a little, "This is awesome." It's a crowd sound, as if there was a lot of people there. Back, and Luchasaurus has control until Trent hits him with a nice spear out of the turnbuckle. Jungle Boy comes in, he starts brawling around, cleaning house, and then towards the end of at the end of this match, Orange Cassidy, for whatever reason, stands on the stage, and he's just like getting interactive. He's like, "Come on!" He's like waving, like doing the Bring It On stuff. Like, "Come on, come on!" All of a sudden, out of nowhere, from behind, Phoenix with a kick to the back of Orange Cassidy's head. He is dead. He is out. Orange Cassidy is done. While this is distracting the referee and everybody else, MJF jumps the barricade. He was out there still before his match. Takes Jungle Boy, throws him into the ring post, throws him into the ring. Best friends to capitalize. 1, 2, 3. The best friends beat Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, the Jurassic Express. Post-match, just as the best friends music hits, you see the aftermath of Wardlow killing Marco Stunt. Luchasaurus runs over to Marco, and him and Wardlow have a stare down. Now, it hasn't been announced yet, but maybe, just maybe, at Double or Nothing, it will be, because we do have one more show. It might be Luchasaurus versus Wardlow, which I think would be fantastic. Two big, beefy boys going after each other. I think it'd be great. But I also like the fact that MJF got his sneak attack in and build a little bit to his match with Jungle Boy. And they're continuing the Death Triangle. I mean, we don't have all 3 members of Death Triangle, but we do have Phoenix, and we should be thankful for that. I mean, I still don't get that. It's like, last week they mentioned how Phoenix, or was it during Dark last night? They mentioned how Phoenix was stuck in America. Pac, of course, is stuck in the UK, but Pentagon's quarantined in, or is stuck in Mexico. I'm pretty sure if Pentagon wanted to get out of Mexico and come back to the States to perform, I'm pretty sure he could find a way by hook or by crook to get out of there, quarantine himself for the next 2 weeks, and be at Double or Nothing. Hell, for all we know, he might be there at Double or Nothing. Who knows? But I like the fact that they're continuing what was a feud before all this happened in Death Triangle and the Best Friends. What is that going to lead to? What it led to something at Double or Nothing if everything went to plan? Only another universe of this could tell you that. Then we go to the match outside, and man, it went dark like that because it was still daytime, I believe, when this tag team match ended. But we go outside, and Jon Moxley is made his arrival without his championship. As we know, last week, Brodie Lee minions took the championship from a downed Moxley and handed it to Brodie Lee. So he comes in, Alice Marvez asks him a stupid question, and Moxley doesn't answer. He just flicks the camera and walks away. As we see him walking into the arena, he is pissed. Ford versus Britt Baker versus Shida versus Statlander in a 4-way. This was a de facto #1 contenders match, even though it wasn't called that. This was a sloppy match. Now, sloppy's not bad sometimes because, yes, human error happens. No match is going to be crisp and clean. Even the Young Bucks, the Lucha Bros, Kenny Omega, Cody, and others have had slip-ups in their match, but it just felt like they were part of this match that, like, it was an early part of this match where everything was going smoothly, and then Britt Baker and Penelope Ford just stood there for a minute, I think trying to mouth to each other, or talk to each other what they wanted to do in the match, and it just slowed the match down. I know outside of Shida, a lot of these women don't have the years of experience, but you got to do better than that. If you want to try and do something like that where you try to figure out what spots you're going to do, so like have yourselves go to the outside if it's a 4-way match and get off camera, go over what you want to do in the match, and then go do it in the match afterwards. Let's see. There was a portion of this match where Statlander and Shida were working as if they were a tag team against Penelope Ford and Britt Baker, which if there were women's tag team titles, which Tony Khan last year hinted at the fact that they want to do women's tag team champions, I wouldn't see any other team of women better than Shida and Chris Statlander. They seem to work just well together anytime we see them. They've tagged together before. They seem to have that instant chemistry with each other that, you know, only happens when you, like, because they haven't tagged that much together. I know that. I'm just like, the matches they've tagged together, this match tonight where there was that section of the match where they worked together, hitting double teams, just being in sync with each other. It's like if they have tag team championships, which would be way better than the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. I'm just saying. I would not be surprised if they became the first ever women's tag team titles, if that ever happens. We get a Tower of Doom spot by Baker, Shida, and Statlander. All 4 women are down. We go to break. We come back, and this was after they stopped working together. Statlander and Shida were just trading shots. Baker hits a Canadian Destroyer on Chris Statlander. Sabian gets involved as we get towards the end of the match, where he's holding Shida. He's like, "Come on, babe, hit her." And Penelope Ford goes to attack. Shida moves out of the way. So instead of knocking Sabian off, they just lock lips and we have a makeout session. But unfortunately, Shida didn't go down or anything, so she comes out, kicks them both. Sabian goes flying in the most dramatic way possible, and Penelope Ford just falls backwards dead. D-E-A-D, dead. So as this is all going on in the ring, we go to a ring shot, side area shot of Chris Statlander locked in the lockjaw on the outside, as we have Shida hitting a running knee onto Penelope Ford for the 1-2-3. Shida wins, and Britt Baker, in my opinion, looks really stupid because you have a match with the number 1 contender and the number 2 contender in this match. If you win this match beating one of them or even Penelope Ford, there's a possibility you're next in line to take on Nyla Rose at Double or Nothing. So you decided to continue to use the lockjaw on Chris Statlander instead of, you had it on her for a bit, you have her down, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to win this match so I can be number 1 contender. What the fuck was that? Really, really, in the end, made her look stupid. Nyla Rose is at ringside holding up her title. Shida looks around and then she locks eyes with Nyla Rose. That match, it happens at Double or Nothing. Then we go to Proud and Powerful versus Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega. This match happening because last week it was Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, the Sex Gods, versus Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega. And towards the end of the match, it looked like Kenny Omega had the win by hitting Jericho with the one-winged angel. Unfortunately, Proud and Powerful made their return and helped the Inner Circle teammates win that match. So this is the revenge match for Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega. This was a damn good match. Kenny Omega, Matt Hardy, both in other tag teams. I'm not just talking about Hangman and Kenny Omega, but Kenny Omega has been a tag team specialist for many years. People always contribute him to being a singles wrestler only, but he teams up with the Elite and 6-man tag team matches all the time, even in Japan. His tag team with Kota Ibushi, which was the Golden Lovers, they were great at what they did. So that is him. And of course, Matt Hardy, of course, is definitely the one guy that you can sit there and say, yeah, he is a tag team specialist 100%. So Pride and Powerful come out first. They're out there. They're, floating. Of course, Ortiz is being Ortiz. Kenny Omega makes his way out. Of course, Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega are not going to come out together. And Pride and Powerful has, Matt's not out here. Let's go get this sucker because he's only a few feet away. We're going to beat the fuck out of him for a while. So they go out there. They attack him. They bring him into the ring. They hit a couple moves on him. And then Matt Hardy finally gets out here. And what doesn't make sense in this situation is these guys went after Kenny Omega at the same time. Why is Santana the only one going after Matt Hardy? Of course, Matt Hardy takes a nice chunk out of Santana. You can see blood coming out of Matt Hardy from this attack later on in the match. Definitely a gruesome shot. This match was so hard to follow when it comes to trying to get moves and everything. These guys are just so good at what they do. If you haven't seen this match, you gotta definitely check this match out because these 4 guys went out there and killed it. And again, I will say this till I'm blue in the face or until this shit's over with. It is night and day when you watch Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or even NXT and it's dead silent with no crowd. And then you watch AEW in Daly's place, which I know is a bigger arena than either the Performance Center or Full Sail. And you hear, "This is awesome," or Ken, like, or like MJF sucks or something from the crowd, and it's just like night and fucking day. Hardy tags in. We get some classic Hardy double team moves. The whisper in the wind, I believe it was. Ortiz and Santana keep controlling Omega as we go to break. Back and Santana gets a one on Omega. Omega is just taking all the heat. He was the guy who's going to take all the heat for the babyface team. Proud and Powerful have Omega in the crab and camel clutch at the same time, which was awesome. It's a 5. Of course, they get a 5 count, maybe a 10 count, maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah. You had Santana had him in the crab, in the quote. They said the walls of Jericho, but it's a Boston crab, and of course, unless Jericho's doing it. And Ortiz comes in, tags in. He goes to the other side, puts him in a camel clutch. Of course, Santana drops him, and then he still has him in the clutch. Another poke to the eye. Omega finally gets up. Ortiz gets back in. He thumbs it. He pokes him in the eye. Then another one. He drops Omega. Double team move by Proud and Powerful. 2 count. Omega and Ortiz trading shots now. Okay, so here was the dumb move. You know how Ortiz does his Tiger style. He scratches somebody's back. Well, he decided while they're trading shots, let me scratch Omega's front. And then I'm going to go in front of Omega, do the Tiger style thing, while he can come from behind, grab me, and give him a Snapdragon suplex. By the way, Hiroshi Tanahashi got a nice shout out by JR saying that he and Omega have the best Snapdragon suplexes he's ever seen, and he thinks that Omega has the best one of them all. Hardy and Santana tag in. Hardy with the delete slam, which is, of course, him taking their head and just slamming them on the turnbuckles and saying delete, 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 delete the entire time. So I call it the delete slam. Followed by a splash in the corner, but he goes for the bulldog, which Matt Hardy would do is go for the splash, turn him around, and put the bulldog. But of course, that is blocked. Sound effect by Hardy gets a 2 count, elbow to the back of Santana's. Back of Santana's head. Hardy sets up and goes for the twist of fate. Proud and Powerful stop that, sending Hardy to the floor. They get back into the ring, and Bret Hardy finally hits a twist of fate. Looks like the match is over, but Ortiz breaks it up. Ortiz rolls Santana back into a cutter, which looked awesome. Onto Omega. Hardy has Santana in a submission. Sammy Guevara, who of course got hit last week, as you saw, comes out just playing up that he is badly injured. He has a neck brace on. He's got a chair. Looks like he's going to do something to these guys. He gets into the ring. Matt Hardy hits him with the twist of fate, and if you watch, Jon Moxley hit Sammy Guevara with his DDT a couple months ago, and the way he took that, way he bent backwards, he did the same exact bump for Matt Hardy. Sammy, why the fuck do you take a bump like that? All you're supposed to do is when he hits the twist of fate is lay out forward. Why are you going straight down and then flipping over? It looks nasty. Knee to the face, Hardy gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. Omega and Hardy are your winners. Beautiful fucking match. Great stuff. Tag team wrestling. WWE doesn't know what tag team wrestling is outside of NXT. Whereas the main, like AEW, shows you every week. Even a team of Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega, who've only teamed up once before, and that was last week, can go out there and hang with a team like Proud and Powerful and actually look damn good at it. Taz is backstage with Darby Allin again. I don't know where this is leading to, but Taz wants to talk about the ladder match because Darby Allin's in it, but he wants to apologize for what happened 2 weeks ago and the fact that Darby Allin just caused himself to lose. Darby hit the coffin drop. He looked like he had the pin, and Cody got the pin, got his shoulder up, and rolled him over. And Taz is like, dude, I don't think you understand. I can help you. And Darby gets up and he walks away. So I don't know if they're trying to get Taz involved more other than color commentary, which I don't want him to do. Taz should just be on commentary for Dark. I don't want him to be a manager for somebody. We already got Jake the Snake. We already got Leva Bates. You already got Peter Avalon for Leva Bates. You already got Brandy Rhodes, Arn Anderson, Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian for their matches. It's like, we don't need you to be doing this. You better on commentary. I don't think Darby Allin needs a manager like a Taz. I think Darby Allin is fine on his own. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Sheeta is backstage. She says thank you from the when the interviewer says congratulations, and she's asked what is your thoughts on beating the match at Double or Nothing. She says, well, the good thing about this is, in her best English accent that she can get, that she can challenge for the title and that she will win the AEW Women's Championship. Now the Rose comes in and says, whoa. Okay, I know you've been looking for something. I know you've been missing something for a while. So I brought you something. With her hands behind her back, she pulls it up, and it's Sheeta's kendo stick. She whacks her on the head, says, found your kendo stick, bitch, and walks off. Next week, it has been announced that Orange Cassidy will take on Rey Fenix after what happened earlier in the night. So that should be interesting to see what Orange Cassidy does with Rey Fenix. I just hope it's not a cut and copy paste game type match that he had against Pac. MJF versus Lee Johnson. This was not even a match. This was I'm gonna come in and just humiliate you and embarrass you for all to see. MJF just slaps this poor guy. He's beating the hell out of this guy. He yells at him, shoulder breaker into an armbar, Fujiwara armbar for the tap out. MJF wins. Nothing else there. He says, you know what? Cut my music. My peers don't know how to react to a real professional wrestler. Jungle Boy, I'm real excited for you and me at Double or Nothing, but I got some ring rust. And you know, I could use a tune-up match. But I noticed, Marco Stunt, you have an open contract. And I signed my name to that. We're gonna have some real fun. I'm better than you. Snaps his finger. Wardlow brings the ring over. Puts the ring on his finger. He kisses it. And you know it. Boom. So next week on the Go Home Show, it will be Marco Stunt versus MJF. Should be interesting to see how that goes. Shug D versus Pineapple Pete. Shug D Pete versus Chris Jericho. This was, of course, a combination of weeks and weeks and weeks of Shug D being called Pineapple Pete. And Pineapple Pete, Shug D, of course, attacked Chris Jericho last week and before his match, and they made this match official. So Jericho just playfully slaps Pete. Pete slaps him, and he is beating up on Chris Jericho. He beats him. He has him in the corner. Gets a couple shots on him. He's hyping himself up. Jericho just sitting there, just scouting this guy. Shug D comes out. Chris Jericho misses. Judas Effect. 1, 2, 3. Jericho wins easily. So Shug D got a little bit of offense in on him. So Jericho, in the end, did make him look a little good. But in the end, it didn't matter. That Judas Effect, that was all that was for, is to set this Judas Effect up to look even more deadly. Because it could come out of nowhere. Now, after the match, Jericho also grabs a mic and says, so now that the threat of Pineapple Pete is vanquished, let's move on to more pressing matters. The Elite versus the Inner Circle. And he talks about them fighting the Elite fighting them one more time. And he challenges them to a Stadium Stampede match, which is going to happen at Double or Nothing. And it's going to be in the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium. They're going to brawl through the entire stadium. I don't know how this is going to go because Cody already has a match at Double or Nothing, and it's called the TNT Tournament Finals to crown the first ever TNT World Heavyweight Champion, or the TNT Champion. He wants a response. He says, we're not going anywhere. We have all the time in the world, so I'll just sit here and wait for a response. He wants them to get their shit together, and Vangaurd 1 comes into view. He flies down. He's got the Inner Circle shirt that I swore they burned a couple weeks ago at the Hardy's compound. He's happy about it. He's happy that he brought the shirt back, and he wonders, do they accept? He holds the mic to him. We see the screen of Vangaurd 1, and it says, we accept. So the match is on at Double or Nothing. Hopefully we have some news on that next week, but I wonder if this means that Blood and Guts is officially canceled. Because Jericho made it sound like this is going to be the final match between the Inner Circle and the Elite. So is Blood and Guts canceled? If so, that's a damn shame. But he asks Vangaurd, what have you made any? Have you changed your mind about joining the Inner Circle? You have all members of the Inner Circle around. This Vangaurd one, he says, you know what? It didn't matter if you hadn't made up your mind, because we rescind your offer because we have a 6th member, and it's this metallic bat he has with him. So he takes the bat and he just whacks at Vangaurd 1 and just starts beating the piss out of Vangaurd 1, destroying Vangaurd 1. Sammy Guevara gets the bat, he starts beating on him. Then every one of them starts talking shit to a broken drone, and I'm like, holy shit! This group has lost their mind. Broken Matt Hardy comes out. He is looking like distraught. They all powder. They all just leave the ring. And like, you left for one guy. You guys could have let Vangaurd. You guys could have beat Matt Hardy down again if you wanted to, but you left because you wanted him to pick up the pieces before Double or Nothing. So Matt Hardy gets the remains of Vangaurd 1. Rest in peace, Vangaurd 1. He was a loyal servant to Matt Hardy. Vangaurd 1, of course, made his debut in Impact Wrestling in 2016. So he had himself a nice life, but Vangaurd 1 is no more. Rest in pieces, Vangaurd 1. Nyla Rose versus Dakota Shida has now been made a no disqualification match after the kendo stick was brought into the fray by Nyla Rose. Next week, MJF versus Marco Stunt. Next week, Arn Anderson and Jake the Snake Roberts will come face to face in an interview. Phoenix versus Orange Cassidy. Moxley versus 10. Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy. And this one is huge for AEW. At Double or Nothing, the winner of the match between Cody and Lance Archer will have their championship introduced to them by Iron Mike Tyson. Wow. Now it's not gonna. Now this is huge for AEW, but it's not like Mike Tyson 1998 when it came to the match at WrestleMania 14 that year when it was Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold. Mike Tyson, yes, had a huge name back then. He's still got a good name, but it's not like that. It's not gonna get that caliber. But this is still a big deal for AEW. And then we go to our main event. Daneils versus Brodie Lee. Brodie Lee comes out, he's got his thing on, his jacket on, his robe on, as his followers with him. Takes the robe off, the AEW Heavyweight Championship is around his waist. He takes it off, hands it to one of his minions, goes over Dasha, and tells her what to call him, and she's like, I stand corrected. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the self-proclaimed AEW Heavyweight Champion, or World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Brodie Lee. So, this match starts out. Daneils jumps in the beginning of this match, trying to do something, but Brodie Lee just catches him and just tosses him like a ragdoll. Brodie Lee gets outside. SU distracts him. Daneils kicks the bottom rope into Brodie Lee as he turns around. Then a dive, Arabian moonsault on the Lee, then an elbow to the inside for a 1 count. Big boot by Lee to Daneils, and Lee just starts bullying the referee. Lee continues to lay out Daneils in the corner and working on him. Back elbow by Lee, then goes back to the outside to stare down SCU. As Tony Schiavone mentioned, they didn't even touch them, he didn't swing at him, he just sat there to stare them down to intimidate them. Daneils gets a big DDT, both are down. Daneils gets some forearms, but Lee sends him into the corner. Frankensteiner by Daneils. 10 gets up, distracts him, but SCU jumps the rails and beats the hell out of him. Daneils somehow gets a chair, whacks Brodie Lee into the head, hits him with a flatliner of sorts, has him in the Koji clutch. Referee gets back in the ring. Looks like this could be the end of the match, but SCU, Colt Cabana come in as more members of the Dark Order come in to try and attack Daneils. They brawl. They send them gone. They're gone. But And it was mentioned that none of the Dark Order, SCU, and Colt Cabana touched either Brodie Lee or Christopher Daneils, so the referee did not call the bell. The match is still going on, so neither one of these guys is out. Now, Daneils is paying way too much attention to what's going on outside of the ring, and they're already gone by now. He turns around, Brodie Lee tries to get the lariat on him. Daneils gets out of that, hits the Angel's Wings, gets a 1 count. Then he goes up, he goes for another one, gets that block. Then hits a BME, the best moonsault ever, gets a 2. Daneils goes up, Brodie Lee turns it into a somewhat counter powerbomb, and then gets up, sets up, hits the discus lariat, 1, 2, 3. Christopher Daneils is defeated by Brodie Lee, as he should be, due to the fact that Jon Moxley and Brodie Lee are going to have a match at Double or Nothing a week from Saturday. Then Brodie Lee is in the ring, and I totally thought this was going to happen because Brodie Lee specifically did not choose 10 to hold the championship. It was just some slub who was wearing a mask. And when the guys come back and he has the championship, the one who has the championship, you just see him twitching his eyes, going back and forth, like looking like, is it my time to jump? I honestly thought the guy holding the championship was going to be Jon Moxley. He was going to lay the other guys out, turn around, take the mask off. It's Jon Moxley. He takes his title back, but no. We then see Jon Moxley walking down from his entrance. The fans who are there, the ones that are there, they were cheering. So he comes out, he starts brawling with some of these guys, and he beats the hell out of these guys, beats the hell out of more of them. Ten and Lee leave the arena as Moxley destroys one of the followers. He says, I can admire your guts and seizing the opportunity, but I don't suffer disrespect or foolishness. You made a foolish decision, one you will pay for with interest. The AEW title is about more than a piece of metal, and you will find that out on May 23rd. There will be a hailstorm of violence, and Mr. Lee, you will find out and how it will feel when your AEW career is over before it started. And Moxley ends the show like that. Very, very good episode of AEW tonight, and like I said, the crowd makes a fucking difference. Just like that that tag team match, and we go to break, and it's like you're hearing, this is awesome, this is awesome. That just like, you don't hear that in WWE. You don't hear that on NXT. You don't hear that on SmackDown or Raw, but you hear it here, and it's just like night and fucking day. Like, I guarantee you, if you had a minuscule crowd in Full Sail last week when Karrion Kross made that fantastic debut, it would have been so much more. It would have been great to hear a crowd just have some kind of reaction when they made that fucking great entrance. But no, Vince McMahon refuses to do anything about a crowd. Even though they're in Florida, and Florida's reopening has designated that any building that has, like any building like that that's going to have like events like wrestling can have 25% of capacity. Now I know that's only going to be a few in full, and like that's going to be like, what is it, 100? Maybe like a little bit over 100 in Full Sail and a little under 50 or so in the Performance Center. But you want to know something? It would be so much better than having nothing. The crowd makes a difference. The crowd was great here. Can't wait to see what we have next week. Next week is going to be a stacked card, as that is the go-home show to AEW's Double or Nothing. Hopefully, at Double or Nothing, they will have a little bit more crowd, because by that time, maybe they can go to 50%, because maybe with Florida's reopening, that'll be enough time past that maybe they can have more crowd, and the show will feel like an actual pay-per-view and not something else. Unlike WWE, which has had 2 pay-per-views under this empty arena shit, this will be AEW's first. How will AEW set themselves different than WWE? Because you could have all the great matches you ever wanted, but if you don't have a crowd to help with the show, it's just not going to help enough. Now, on Mike Tyson, that is great. That is great to see them getting something like that. It is a mainstream guy. He is a professional wrestling fan. It's not just something he did for the hell of it. It's like back in 1998, he made a couple appearances because he loves professional wrestling. Hell, he was he did make a WWE appearance in the mid 2000s again but it's like the guy is a professional wrestling fan, so them bringing him in to say, hey, here is the TNT Championship, and it's going to Lance Archer or Cody Rhodes, most likely Lance Archer, but we'll talk about that next Wednesday. But that is your AEW on TNT review. A great fucking episode. I can't wait to see what we got next week. Having these crowds helps out. Having the fact that they scrapped whatever they were going to have going into Double or Nothing, and came back to Daly's Place to give us superstar wrestlers. I can't believe I said superstars, but wrestlers we haven't seen in weeks are able to come back now. Just makes it a whole lot better. Double or Nothing will be here before you know it. I can't believe it's coming up this fast. It's only a week and 3 days away. And hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The France Club. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. And I'll see you guys Friday for what will probably be another shit episode of SmackDown. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.